Hello everybody out there in YouTube land, I'm Geek Girl Claire and welcome to another exciting Tamiya Mini 4WD racing video. So today in the mail I received the new 2021 Tamiya Mini 4WD official guidebook, and this one has a tune-up introduction focus in it. So let's see what's inside, shall we? Okay, the first thing that you'll notice about the new 2021 official guidebook for Mini 4WD is it's got a glossy cover. So it's very shiny cover versus the previous book, which is more of a matte finish, as you see here. So, but who cares about that, right? It's the content that we're after. So I'm not sure why they decided to laminate it. Maybe for longevity reasons. Maybe this matte cover has a tendency to stain. I'm not sure. But anyway, there's also a price increase. So it went from 870 yen to 1,000 yen. So there's an increase in the price of the book. So I don't know why they increased the price of it so much. But it might have something to do with the secret toy surprise that's inside the book. So you see right here, I don't read Japanese, but I can look at the pictures here and I see that it might include or reference something like this. Do you know what this is, guys? This is that measurement guide that you get from the current Tamiya catalog, and previously it was in paper form. You got it in the back of the catalog, you cut it out, and it looks something like this. Well, let's jump to the surprise right now, because I think it's worth taking a look at. Look at this. This is a plastic version of that measuring guide, and it's free. It's in this book right here, this guide. So just like get this guidebook for this alone. This is really, really cool. So let's see what's in here. We see here the Neo VQS Advanced Pack Racer. That's very cool. So it might be talking about this in the pages. So let's take a look. Okay, so this is, I believe, the most recent version of this magazine. So hopefully you guys got that. We have a version of the Neo VQS right here. Nice red color. We have a table of contents that I can't read, and we've got lots of, there we go. That looks super cool. The dual ridge, and this one. I don't even know the names of some of these cars. Remember, I'm not a professional racer. I am just an enthusiast. So I am very excited about Tamiya Mini 4WD stuff. Like, to me, it's really, really cool. So, here we go. This is the red Neo VQS Racer, and it's talking about the parts that are included in there, front and the rear. Cool. Oh, this is the Tamiya Play Model Factory. I believe this might be in Indonesia. I think I've seen videos on this. So what's cool about this store is it's 100% devoted to Tamiya Mini 4WD products. And one section of it, if you go downstairs in the basement, there's a work area that you could use for free or close to free. If you're a girl, it's free. If you're a boy, you have to pay a little bit of money, but you get to assemble your models down there. So it's pretty cool. And here we've got an Aero Avanti and other racers. And here it's describing the Neo VQS Advanced Pack. So cool. And all the parts that you get with it. And this little thing right here, it's trying to get you to buy the Power Champ batteries here, which do in fact, they make this model really small and light. So battery size, or battery weight that is very important when you're racing your cars. So if you use standard Duracell alkalines, it's going to be a lot heavier to use those batteries than it is to use a rechargeable such as an Energizer 1300 milliamp or a Neo Champ or a Fujitsu, the pink ones. So here we go. Here we have the standard Neo VQS model, and it's basically describing the various components of it. We have other cars here, the aforementioned dual ridge, this Honda E, which also, these are all VZ chassis cars. That's why they're talking about it in in this guidebook. So this seems to be very VZ focused here in this particular guidebook. And that's cool because I love the VZ chassis. I think this is a definite upgrade to the VS chassis. The VS chassis was the first, it was the first chassis that was introduced or made super popular. And I had a VS chassis that was like pretty cool. Like I have many VS chassis racers. I have those little animal racers. Those are all VS chassis. I have older models that are like the VS chassis based upon. So pretty cool. So yeah, VS is not the newest one, but it's one of the older ones. So here we go. Let's turn the page. Mini 4WD starter pack. So this is an FMA chassis, and this is the Rowdy Bull. So I got one of my friends the Rowdy Bull starter pack, and she is yet to build this, so we'll be racing together in some of the. So if you guys are on or like in the mid-Atlantic area, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, around there, you'll probably see me racing in one or more of these Mini 4WD meets. I know that New Works comes down from his spot up in New England just to race, so it'd be an honor to meet him someday, so that'd be cool. So let's take a look. We've got a lot of different cars in here, so it's not just VZ focused. It's like everything focused, but on the first few pages they talked about VZ stuff. So these are all of the new model cars that are available, and maybe some older ones too. Like this Festigiani, I have this one. This one's really neat. This one actually, the way I tuned it, like I really made sure that I cut everything to exact proportions. And my little son has the Festigiani Black Special, and his car unfortunately is not as fast as mine, even though all the specs look the same. So part of that could be that my car is actually a little heavier than his. So that's pretty strange in itself, why my car is faster. But I think because I lubricated the components very well and cut everything to spec and made sure that everything was like, and I broke in the motor too. That's an important part, an important step in the process of building all of these. So if you want to break in your motor, what does that mean? Well, if you were to just take the motor out of the box and just slam it right into your model, it's not going to be as efficient. The motor is not going to be as efficient as if you broke in the motor. What does break in mean? Well, you basically try to run the motor for a while so that you loosen up the crap that's inside the motor. That's the gist of it. So once you loosen up the crap with forward and reverse spinning, then you clean the motor. They clean the insides of the motor using cleaning spray, electronics cleaning spray. And then you might run the motor again. And then officially this thing, if you've run it like for about 3 minutes on each forward and reverse, and you clean it and maybe run it a little bit more, officially your motor has been broken in, and so it'll be as efficient as it could be. So can your motor be as fast as the motors that you see on various YouTube videos out there? Yes, it can. Is it likely to be the same power as those other motors that you see? Well, likely, but probably not. In some cases, your motor might be faster, it might be slower, it depends on the break-in process, it depends on the manufacturing process, it depends on so many different variables. So, just because somebody says that they have, say, a hyperdash motor, and you have a hyperdash motor in yours, and you think that your car is basically the same as his or hers, it doesn't mean that you'll end up with a tie. One of you is going to win the race because one of you built your car a little bit better, maybe used components that were higher quality, maybe so many various things. Like maybe your battery power is a little bit stronger, or maybe a little bit weaker in some cases. Like in some cases, a motor might run a little bit better if the battery's not totally juiced up to 100%. So all these little factors, there's so many random variables that determine who is going to win a race. And that's what's fun about Mini 4WD. You never know what's going to happen. On any given day, just like on any given Sunday, in football, for example, on any given day, you, with your car, can win a race against a pro. It's unlikely, but it's possible. And that's what's cool about this. So a lot of racers out there of all ages, all creeds, all ethnicities, and they're all here for a common goal, and that's to race these wonderful machines. These are magnificent machines, guys. These are things of like advanced engineering, all in basically a $15 toy. So I'm calling it a toy just for like simplistic purposes. This is not exactly a toy. It's an efficient machine. Once you add like so many cool parts to your car, like this is an Aero Avante, but it's got all, the starter pack has all these additional accessories that make it a more balanced, well-oiled machine. So you've got right here weights on the sides, you've got rollers, you've got things that'll keep this car to the ground, because the Aero Avante, if you were to just build this as a stock unit out of stock box model, this thing's probably going to fly off the track because it's pretty fast. It's very light. And with a standard box motor, it's going to just fly off the track. It's just so fast. You need to add parts to it, just like this, just like in the starter pack, to keep this thing on the ground, to keep it in the track, to keep it solidly moving within the track so that it doesn't fly off of the track. So this is what this starter pack is all about. So starter pack for Aero Avante, advanced pack for the Neo VQS, whichever you decide to buy, it's going to be a great choice. Now, me personally, I'd rather get this. For just $10 more, you get super advanced stuff in this that you will not see in the starter pack. So you get weights on the back. You don't have weights here on the back. You get a hollow propeller shaft inside. You don't get that here. So all pretty cool. You do get a Rev 2 tuned motor in this one, and you get a light dash motor in this one. A lot of people have issues with the light dash motors. I don't know why, because when I tested my light dash motor, this is a rocket fast motor for what it is. I heard that over time, this motor lasts a lot less. Like it'll have a shorter lifespan than other motors out there. So maybe that's the big problem. But I did hear that in the upper echelons, like once it approaches like old age, it gets faster. It's just like so much faster, and then it finally dies. So if you can deal with the craziness, the lack of consistency in the motor, then light dash in the Neo VQS Advanced Pack is pretty cool. So let's continue on. Lots of different cars here. These are all the AR models of cars, both old and new. And yeah, now here's an AR chassis tune-up guide. And we have here, again, I don't read Japanese, but I can see pictures and I can tell what's going on by just studying the pictures. So, a shout out to AAA Hobbies in Magnolia, New Jersey. They actually told me not to be, like they said to me, don't be afraid of the Japanese guidebooks, because just because you can't read Japanese doesn't mean that you can't get information and value from these books. You can study the pictures and learn from some of the things. You see arrows pointing to the various things. That's what they're focusing on. Like, you don't need Japanese necessarily to be able to understand what's going on with all of the pictures here. It definitely helps. The person who said all of this in AAA Hobbies does know a little bit of Japanese, and you know what? Over time, you'll be picking up some Japanese words anyway, just by studying a lot of Japanese literature. So here we go. Super 2. Cool. So many different things here. MS chassis. Cool. Lots of MS chassis things here. And wow, this is getting really good, guys. This is not just a catalog of all the stuff, but it's like describing various little things. And here we go. There's always a section in these guidebooks that talk about building and tuning and tips to make your models better. So what's going on here? Whoa. I don't know what's going on here exactly. It appears, maybe it's like a wheel alignment thing going on here. Pretty cool. And here they're advising you that you should oil up the inside of of the keylet, which is basically the plastic, the POM ball bearing. So cool. Oh, a section on regulations. So yeah, my car was actually out of spec. My Japan Cup 2020, I have a custom body damper that I built for it, which was made out of one of those plastic car catchers, and it was angling up at a 45-degree angle, which made the height of the car greater than 70 millimeters. And when I realized this, I was kicking myself, and I was like, how do I make it lower? So all I did was I added strut support columns. In another video, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And that brought the height of the car down to spec level, down to regulation level, which is 70 millimeters or below. Okay, so here, basic tune-up. Now we're talking about motors. So cool, and these are all the different motors that are available. So my fastest motor that I have is an Ultra Dash, and I thought I had a Plasma Dash, but I don't. I have an Ultra Dash, and my second fastest motor is my Sprint Dash. So my Sprint Dash, I was able to break in the motor, and I got a speed of 35 kilometers per hour. You'll check out the video on measuring the speed for my Japan Cup 2020 car. It is only 105 grams, so it's super light. Now, I think my test wasn't a fair test because I didn't weigh like all the parts on it on the speed checker. So here's the problem. The speed checker, the old style speed checker, is not really useful for checking the speed of cars that have the FRP or carbon front and back plates. You have to remove all of that stuff to be able to sit the car down here and then test the speed. So this has like kind of a limited usefulness because of that. So I was thinking about this for a little while, and I said to myself, well, if I remove the front and back, I can test the speed. How do I test the speed of the product with everything on it? So I was thinking, well, if I somehow just attach it as a volley, maybe on top of the car, I can get a more accurate read, because that'll be the true weight of my car, instead of removing all the front and back and then making the car weigh less and then getting a false reading there. So 35 kilometers per hour, maybe it would be 34 had I had the front and back plates on there. But yeah, because of the way this is designed, having the front and the back plates will interfere with the car sitting on these rollers properly. So this, for all practical purposes, guys, this is a dyno. Like, if you've ever owned a sports car and you wanted to see how fast your car could be in terms of like horsepower and speed and things like that, you go to a place where they check your speed using this thing called a dyno. So you get your car strapped in and they run it. They run your car at like through all the gears, and they graph how fast your car is at each gear. I've had that done with my car, my little Mini Cooper, and yeah, it's an exhilarating process to see this graph and to see how fast your car really is. So, and you can tell like problems with the car too, just by using a dyno check. So yeah, this is a product that needs to be upgraded by Tamiya in order for it to be useful for today's machines. For yesteryear's machines, like you're trying to check the speed of cars that were made, say, 10 years ago or more, this is perfect for that. Because back then, they didn't have a lot of cars that had all the fancy stuff in the front and the back. So with all the fancy stuff in the front and the back, this part here is going to interfere with a lot of very low clearance cars. So some of you have cars that where the front and back reinforcement plates are like this much off the ground, like just a couple of millimeters. That's not going to work on this. You have to remove those plates and somehow figure out another way of measuring. So there you go. That's my spiel about the Mini 4WD speed checker. It's great in theory. So let's continue on. We've got gears here on this page. It talks about ball bearings and hollow propeller shaft versus standard propeller shaft, and it's got wheel sizes. So for me, this is where an area that I'm studying right now, to try to figure out how to make my car faster. So wheels and tires, very, very important, and I'm going to be studying this extensively. And there's different kinds of tires that you can get. There are also different materials for the tire that you can get. Yeah, there's a new sponge material that, there we go, that if you were to drop your car, if you were to test your car at a height of 1 foot or more, drop it down and it bounces a lot, that's kind of bad, because when you're racing and there are those hills and your car bounces after it goes down after a big jump, that's pretty bad. You need to have it hit and stay as close to the ground as possible, so then it could continue to accelerate once it touches the ground. So sponge tires are good for that. Very good absorption. So here we're talking about the different rollers that could be used and the different plates that are available, both FRP and carbon fiber. And here we're talking about, it's a study of what happens when you're moving around a curve like this. So I think this is repeated information in every one of the guidebooks. Some of these sections here, the advanced sections, I think they're repeated in every guidebook, if I'm not mistaken, or at least some subset of it is repeated. So then we have some tips on how to use these parts effectively. And yes, so here we're talking about building a body damper for your Aero Avante. Very cool. Yes, there we go. I saw somebody make a version of this exactly like this, and I forget, was it Zenbuster or someone? Roy was his name. Someone was creating like a bunch of various body dampers, lantern dampers they're called. Why are they lantern dampers? Because once you create this, you hang the weights on the bottom, just like this. So it looks like a Chinese lantern. I apologize for the squeakies. That's my little doggy, my little puppy, and he's playing with his toys. So here it shows you how to shape various parts, various existing carbon fiber or FRP parts, so you can create your own body damper. So I know that some Tamiya races forbid the use of the plastic body catcher. I think that's like a no-no in some races, in some countries. Others don't care, so long as, like, if you're an outlaw class, like outlaw class is open class, which means anything goes. So in that class, you could build anything out of the Tamiya parts. So long as they're made of Tamiya parts, it's okay. So I was thinking about creating something really cool and snazzy for the front part of my car. I might still do that. It might be something that you'll see soon. It'll be so cool. This is what I got my engineering degree for, I believe, so that I can like figure things out like this. So I can learn more things about physics and just like figure things out. So that's it. That's a good application of an engineering degree. Doesn't mean that I'll always win, because the school that I went to, we're known to notoriously lose to the opposing colleges that are in the area, and those colleges supposedly aren't as academically strong as my school, and yet we still lose. So just because you went to a super cool school, super good school for engineering, doesn't mean that you're going to be able to apply your knowledge to things like this and win them. So in fact, I think it's actually probably better to go to a not so super prestigious school, because then you'll be around like people that are more down to earth, and they know how to optimize the things that they have using the resources that are available. So if you go to a super cool school, super prestigious school where the kids all have money, I didn't come from money, by the way. I was like super poor, but all of my friends came from a lot of money, and so they were just like, oh, we just throw money into the situation. We just buy something cooler and better and just put it in there. And it's like, no, that's not how you should be thinking. You should be thinking of like, these are your resources. how can I optimize them based on the budget that I have? Not just try to like buy the most expensive thing and just throw it in there. No, that's not the best way of doing things. So here we go. We're approaching the end of this, and we have some super fancy cars, as you see, and then we have a little talk about, oh wow, I wish I could read this. So here it's talking about, from what I see here, what happens when this Neo VQS Advanced Pack approaches a slope, and how the brake, I believe this is talking about how the brake affects what's going on here. And this one here, the top picture, shows, I think, more of what's going on here. Like, you probably want to make sure that your brakes are constantly like checked to make sure that there's enough material so that it could deal with the brakes, with the slopes effectively. Whereas here you have a picture of a brake that's well worn, so it's not going to handle the slope as effectively. That's what I got out of these pictures anyway. So we approach the very last page. What is this? It's talking about, oh, this is how to use this wonderful tool that they gave you in this guidebook. So yeah, all in all, this is 1,000 yen, and I think 1,000 yen is about $10, if I'm not mistaken, around there. I think it's money well spent. It's $7 for shipping. I bought my stuff from Hobby Search in Japan, and I paid for the small packet mail, which is like a ground surface mail. I think they ship it by boat or something, and it took over 2.5 months to get this guidebook. I saw this book on an official Tamiya video, and I was like, whoa, gotta get that book. And I ordered it right away, that day that I saw the video. And then 2.5 months later, here at the end of April, beginning of May, I finally got this. So yeah, you might want to spend a little bit more once you find a source that sells this, because it sells like hotcakes. These guidebooks like sell out very quickly. So I had a chance to get the red version of this, and I waited like a week, and suddenly it was gobbled up by somebody. So I wish I got the red one, because that's also a special tune-up guide. So anyway, get these from Japanese sources perhaps, because that's probably where you'll easily find them, and then pay the expedited shipping and you'll get this right away. So yeah, everyone, if you like this video, please slam the like button, subscribe to my channel, and you'll see more videos just like this one. So remember, I'm not a pro racer, I'm just an enthusiast, but I have a lot of awesome information that can help a lot of newbies and up-and-coming racers out there. So until next time, everybody, see ya, bye.